Hello everyone, this is Unit 1, Lesson 11, Learning Target. I could find and identify angles that are formed in parallel lines by using an intersecting transversal. We'll get right to the do now. This is a triangle with missing angles, and we have to find this angle right here with the question mark. So let's get right to it. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. This right here is 105 degrees. It's an exterior angle. Exterior angle. This right here is 65 degrees. It's an interior angle, inside. And so this right here is an exterior angle. You know all three angles of a triangle, interior angles of a triangle, when you add them up, they equal 180 degrees. But you really need two of those angles to find the third missing one. So go ahead and try this problem. We'll come back and review it. You can press pause now. So hopefully you have your answer and you didn't have any problems with this, but let's go ahead and I'll show you two different methods. So I'm just going to put a star right next to this, and this will give you a shortcut method in getting that measure of the angle there that has a question mark next to it. So method number one, we're talking about the sum of the two non-interior, non-adjacent angles. If you add these up, it'll equal to the exterior angle. All right, the sum of the two interior non-adjacent angles, if you add them up, it'll equal the exterior angle. So 65 plus some number will equal 105. So if you take 105 and subtract 65 from it, you should get 40 degrees. So we're going to just put 40 degrees down, and let's just minus this out. And so that means this angle right here must be 40, and that is C. That's method number one. That's the most direct method. That's the one I would like you to use. But if you do not remember that method, then there is another method, method number two. It is not as direct, but you could still use it and get all of the answers. So I'm going to highlight something right here. That is a straight line. This is a straight line. Straight lines equal 180 degrees. So I'm going to go back to my pen, and I am just going to put down right now 180 minus 105. And right now I'm going to see that that is 75 degrees. So I know that this right here is 75 degrees. So if 105 plus 75, that is 180. So now I have two interior angles of the triangle, so that's what I needed to get this measure. So if I do 75 plus 65, and again I take my calculator, 75 plus 65 is 140. Then, because I have 75 plus 65 as 140, then I'm going to take 180, because all angles, the sum of interior angles of a triangle, if you add them up, equals 180 degrees. 180 minus the 140, you get 40 degrees. And that is the measure of this right here, 40 degrees. So either way, it's fine. For the fast finisher, you list both of these things as, ways that you really could possibly use to solve this question. So this is the launch right here. It's a newspaper route, has two parallel streets, and the streets are cut by another street in the figure. And what I see right here is a street here and a street here. And those are the parallel streets. Going down, I'm going to see the transversal, the other street that is basically like your transversal. So the first question says to number all the angles that you see in the figure. This is just like you would normally do in any kind of, or a question that you would see in any kind of work with parallel lines in a transversal. Number those angles. That's all they want you to do, is just number them. So right here is angle number 1. Right here I see another angle, that's angle number 2. Right here you could put 3. Right here you could put 4. Right here is 5. This one is 6. This one is 7. That one is 8. Alright, it says put a circle around 2 pairs of angles, 4 in total, that you feel are congruent to each other. So go ahead and then put a square around 2 pairs of angles, which are 4 in total, that you feel are congruent to each other. So 4 angles get a circle, and 4 congruent angles get a square. You could try that, do that, and we'll review it. Press pause now. So in this type of figure, this parallel lines cut by a transversal, there are 4 angles that are congruent to each other. And then there are another 4 that are congruent to each other. All the obtuse angles are congruent. They're equal to each other. All the acute angles are equal to each other. Alright, so let's start with the obtuse angle, and we're going to start with a circle. And we're going to start with a circle around angle 1. And this is basically like a crisscross method. So angle 1 is crisscrossing to angle 4, another obtuse angle. Those are congruent. And it's crisscrossing to angle 5. Those are congruent. And it's crisscrossing to 8. All of the circled angles that I have, angle 1, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 8 are congruent to each other. And I'm going to put the congruent symbol as an equal sign and a squiggly line on top to each other. Alright, let's talk about the other angles. I'm going to box 2. I'm going to go, that's an acute angle. So I'm going to go crisscross to the other acute angle, which is 3. And then I'm going to go crisscross again to 6 and put a box around it. And then I'm going to go finally to crisscross to 7. All of those angles are acute angles. So I'm going to put angle 2, angle 3, angle 6, and angle 7 are congruent to each other. Notice that it makes a crisscross. You could do that all the time. You could circle one angle, crisscross to the other. All obtuse angles are going to be congruent to each other, and all acute angles are going to be congruent to each other. So that is what was expected of you. All right, going on to the next page, we are going to just work together on this, going through all of the different angles. This is a pair of parallel lines that you see here. Parallel lines, as I press it, just watch the screen. You don't have anything to copy here. Parallel lines are, they are lines that never meet, and they are parallel to each other. They'll never meet, and that's it. All right, so transversal is the other line right here, going through the parallel lines, cutting through it, intersecting it, and creating 8 different angles in this case, and that's the transversal. Vertical angles are across, directly across from each other. And I think of it as, like, just take a look. If I just take my pen and I make this figure right here, to me that looks like a V. right? This is a V. It's a weird V, but it's a V nonetheless. Then if I take my pen and make another V, it's upside down and it's weird as well. Where they meet and across, these are vertical. A and D, they're vertical angles. They meet at the point of the V, an upside down V and a regular V. All right. So, and then B and C, they meet at a V, the point also vertical angles directly across from each other, and they are congruent. So it's A and D, B and C. Down here at the V, which is E and H, they're congruent, and F and G are congruent to each other. So I'm going to highlight the vertical lines as A and D, B and C, E and H, and F and G. I'll do that one more time with you. It's A and D, B and C, E and H, and F and G directly across from each other. Okay, so let me just clear this out. That takes care of vertical angles. We are going to skip to alternate interior angles, and what I'm going to do right now is that I'm just going to highlight the parallel lines. I'm going to highlight one parallel line there and one parallel line here. Right? Those parallel lines to me look like part of a sandwich. All right, I'm always hungry. I'm always looking to eat. I love sandwiches. All right, so this looks like the bread to me. This is these are the parallel lines, pieces of bread. Inside the bread is the sandwich, the nice sandwich with all the meat and the cheese, and lettuce and tomato and mayo and all that kind of good stuff. So inside all of these angles, C, D, E, and F, they're known as interior angles. Interior angles are inside the parallel lines. Alternate interior angles are across from each other. So when it says alternate, you have across. That word alternate means in cross. Interior means inside. So alternate interior angles are C and F. Remember, inside and across from each other, and D and E. And I'll click and highlight alternate interior angles, C and F, D and E. Realize that these are congruent as well. These are both acute angles. Both acute angles are equal to each other. D and E, both obtuse angles, congruent to each other. So I'll click those again. C and F and D and E. Please do not get confused, because remember, vertical angles meet at the point of the V, right? So they have to be directly across from each other. A and D meet at the point of the V. B and C, E and H, and F and G all meet at this middle point right here, this vertex, where the V, it kind of meets right at that vertex. A and D, B and C, E and H, F and G, vertical. But alternate interior, they don't meet at a vertex. They don't meet. Oh, all right. So they're both inside. They're both inside and across from each other. C and F and D and E. So sticking with that, alternate exterior, again, the word alternate means across. And exterior does not mean inside, it means outside. So now when I'm looking at these parallel lines, I'm thinking about the angles that are outside. The A and the B, they're outside. G and H, those angles are outside. So that means if you're talking about alternate exterior, you're talking about outside angles that are across from each other. So A and H are outside and across from each other. B and G are outside and across from each other. So I'm going to put that into motion. A and H and B and G. Realize when I'm asking you for alternate exterior, you have to give me two exterior angles that are across from each other. Interior angles are inside and across from each other. C and F and D and E. Alternate exterior angles, A and H, B and G. And that is that. Let's go back to corresponding angles. We're going to go back to corresponding angles because that's the only one we did not cover yet. So here we go. Take a look on the top part of this, like just the parallel one line here and the transversal coming down here. This is the top part. This is the bottom. So I think of these as desks. Like if I put you in A desk, or B desk, or C desk, or D desk, you're in the top part. The bottom part has the same desk locations. All right, they're set up the same way, this group. So what I'm asking is, what desk is in the same location as this desk A here in the bottom? So if you said A and E, that is correct. And they make a C, this is corresponding, if you connect them like that. All right, it's a pretty bad C, but all right, it's a C nonetheless. But you're making a C to connect them. But they're in the same location. So this is in the upper left, this is in the upper left of the lower part. All right, same location. So let's talk about B. All right, if you're in desk B, if you're in slot B, what slot would that is in the same location as desk B in the bottom part? If you said F, you're correct. And you could circle those two and see that they're in the same location and they connect with a backwards C. What desk is in the same location as C in the bottom part? If you said C and G, that is correct. Again, and then D and H are corresponding. Same location angles. Corresponding angles are in the same location. So let's go ahead and put this into motion. So let's go. Corresponding, we are going to click it, A and E, B and F, C and G, and D and H, same location. So that's what I'm going to put on the top of corresponding, same location. All right, so let's just go through this quickly. These are the parallel lines, obviously. This is a transversal. It cuts the parallel lines, creates 8 angles. Vertical angles meet at a vertex, A, D, B, and C. On the bottom, E and H and F and G. Alternate interior angles are across from each other and inside, D and E, C and F. Alternate interior inside and across from. Alternate exterior outside and across from, A and H and B and G. A and H and B and G. And the last is our corresponding angles. Same location, A and E, B and F, C and G, and D and H. The only thing this doesn't talk about is supplementary angles, and this does not cover it. But supplementary angles, very, very important. You already know supplementary angles equal 180 degrees. So if they equal 180 degrees, I want you to understand, or write down somewhere, that supplementary angles is one acute angle plus one obtuse angle. In this case, it's not always like that, because remember, supplementary angles can be 2 or more angles that equal 180. In this case, it's going to be just 2 angles, so that one has to be obtuse and one has to be acute. So I put that down, 1 acute plus 1 obtuse. So angle A is the obtuse angle plus angle B equals 180 degrees. 1 obtuse, 1 acute equals 180. So angle C plus angle A, that equals 180. Let me check. 1 acute plus 1 obtuse equals 180. The angles do not have to be next to each other to be supplementary. So if I'm going to pick angle A plus some angle down here? H? No, A and H are both obtuse, so that they're not supplementary. A and G, one acute, one obtuse, 180 degrees. All right, that's it. That's what we wanted to go over with you. Hopefully you found that useful. This page right here is everything that I just said. All right, so you read it. This is really just for your notes. You could go back and look at it, all corresponding angle stuff and alternate interior, alternate exterior. But one thing that you should probably do is that alternate interior angles, just make sure that you're putting right next to it alternate interior across and inside. And by me saying inside the parallel lines, that's what I mean. This is across and outside. Corresponding angles, I would just put on the bottom right here, right, as a note, same location. Like, make little notes for yourself like this, so when you look at it and you're studying this, or you look back at it, you realize, okay, now I understand what that is. I remember putting that note down, and that is it. Just remember vertical angles, which this doesn't cover. Vertical angles are directly across from each other, and they meet at a vertex. All right, and let's go on to the next page. So please go ahead and do what I do right here. We are going to match up the alternate interior angles, connect them like this, and then connect the other pair of alternate interior angles like this. Remember, this is obtuse, this is obtuse. They are congruent. Acute and acute, they are congruent. Vertical meets at the vertex. So put a little point right here in a different color like that, and we're going to meet at the vertex. Vertical angles meet at that vertex, and they're across from each other, meet and across. So please put alternate interior inside and across. Vertical meet at a vertex. And directly across from each other. All right, alternate exterior, you know these are outside. And across. So just before we go on, please go ahead and put the vertical, make your dots here, and a dot here, and make it go across like that, and then also a dot here, and a dot here. We can't forget about these vertical angles. Makes it go across there. All right. So let's talk about alternate exterior. I already put outside and across. Let's go ahead and connect those outside and across angles. The green to the green, acute to the acute, outside and across from each other, just like that. So, corresponding angles. Please put same location. All right, when I say same location is meaning this desk right here is in the same location as this desk right here. This desk right here is in the same location as this desk right here. All right, top and bottom. We are going to make two more. make a circle here and a circle here. Those are corresponding angles. Connect them with the C. And we'll make one here and one here. And we're going to connect them with a C. Same location, same location. Right. Remember, supplementary, we are going to put one acute plus one obtuse in this case. All right, so obtuse angles, one acute and one obtuse. So right here is the obtuse angle. This is 180 degrees. That is 180 degrees. Straight line, one obtuse, one acute, add together, that's 180 degrees. This is also, these angles right here, they add up to be 180 degrees. They're supplementary angles. One obtuse, one acute. And that is it for that page. When you look at it, you should have that, all of those notes down so you could look at them again and return to it if we need to. Okay, let's go on to the next page. We have to find all missing angles, and I'll do this one with you at the time right now. If you think you can go ahead and find all those missing angles, go ahead, try it. You could press pause. We'll come back and review. Press pause now. So, taking a look at this question, it says find all the missing angles. So I'm going to circle 40 degrees. And I'm going to do something like called a crisscross. And it's just like what we did in the street question. Just crisscross to C, crisscross to D, and then crisscross to G. Realize that I circled all of the acute angles. All of these angles in the crisscross are congruent, right? They're all acute. They're all congruent. If you could tell, like, you don't need the crisscross if you don't really want to do it. If you don't want to use the crisscross, it's fine. I could always look at the angles and say that's an acute angle. It has to be equal to the first acute angle that they gave me. So angle C and 40 degrees, these are vertical angles. So that means this angle has to be 40 degrees. These are alternate interior angles, and alternate interior angles are congruent, 40 degrees. And plus this is an acute angle. The last acute angle is G. D and G are vertical angles. This is 40 degrees. Find all missing angles. Angle C equals 40 degrees. Angle D is 40 degrees. Angle G is 40 degrees. Okay, so remember, we have in this case a straight line. A lot of straight lines. We have a lot of supplementary angles here. So give me how you would find A when this angle here is 40. So if you did say 180 and you have to show this work, that's all you have to show, equals 140. So this angle equals 140. Can you see three other obtuse angles that aren't circled, by the way, that equal the same thing as A? Yep, angle B. Angle A and B are vertical, so they are congruent, plus this is an obtuse angle. Give me another obtuse angle. Yes, the alternate interior E and B. E and B are equal to each other, 140 degrees. And now there's one more obtuse angle, vertical angle F and E, 140 degrees. So going back, we are going to put angle A equals 140. Angle B equals 140. Angle E equals 140. And angle F equals 140. Should be lowercase f, not that it matters. Okay. And that's it. That's all. All right, name all pairs of vertical angles. So vertical angles, remember, meet at a vertex. Please do not give me alternate interior as vertical, alternate exterior as vertical. Remember, they meet at a vertex. The vertex is that center point right here where the angles will meet. And I'll put them in red. That is a vertex. That is a vertex. Angles that are meeting at that vertex, those are the vertical angles. All right, so angle, go ahead and put all of those vertical angles down, and you could press pause and do that now. So what we have here is angle, this 40 degrees, and C meeting at the middle right there, that vertex. A and B, vertical angles. D and G meet at a vertex right here and right here. And then E and F meet at that vertex. So all of those are called vertical angles. We are going to talk about why this question here, C, why are angles A and F congruent? So first, I just want to just circle A is here and F is here, because I have a lot of writing on them. So A and F, they want to know why they are congruent. And sometimes they ask, what is the relationship between angle A and F? So that's the way they do ask it a lot right here, is what is the relationship between angle A and F? Because what are some of the strategies, like if you have like this question, why are angles F and A and F congruent? Then you could simply say, well, why are they congruent? Because they're the same. All right. What is the relationship means that they want you to name the specific reason why they are congruent. Are they vertical? Are they alternate interior? Are they alternate exterior? Are they corresponding? Are they supplementary? Like, you have to name using math vocabulary why they are, what is the relationship between those two. All right. So angle A and angle F. Angle A is here. Angle F is here. What is the name? What is the relationship between those two? Are they vertical? No, they don't meet at a vertex. So they're not vertical. You can't say vertical. Are they alternate interior? No, they're across from each other, but they're not inside the parallel lines. So what are they? They are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles. All right. What are some of the strategies used to solve the questions? Obviously, you're going to use, like, you could say strategy is the crisscross method. And remember, you can't say use, like, you explain it like, oh, because the crisscross, they're both circled. Nobody knows what that is. All right. That is not, that's just a strategy you're using that to help you figure out which ones are equal, which ones are congruent, and which ones aren't, which angles are not congruent. Crisscross method is something that a lot of people use. Or you could go by, you know, obtuse looks the same. As another obtuse angle. All right, acute looks the same. The angles look the same. If they are the same, they are the same measure, right? So an acute angle is going to be equal to another acute angle, right? Just like this 40 is equal to this 40. And let's go on to the next question. Go ahead, see if you can do all of these problems. We'll come back and look at the answers. Find all the missing angles, name all pairs of vertical angles, and then answer C. Don't worry about the fast finisher. Press pause and try the problems now. Okay, so we have to find all of those missing angles. Pretty easy though. Again, you could use the crisscross method. I'm going to circle 2. I'm going to go to 142, circle it. I'm going to go crisscross to 6 and all obtuse angles. All right, so that means 2 and 142, these are vertical angles. I'm going to put 142, and then 6 and 142, those are alternate interior angles, 142, and then these are vertical, 142. All obtuse angles, angle 2, 142, angle 6, and angle 7 equal 142. How do we get the measure of angle 1? Well, you're going to remember those are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles, you subtract just like that, and you get 38 degrees. So this is 38 degrees. This is 38 degrees. Going crisscross to 5, 38 degrees. And this is 38 degrees. So angle 1, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 8 equal 38 degrees. Just remember, every time that you actually solve for a missing angle, please put it directly in the figure itself. So it's much easier to visually see exactly what the angle that you solve for is than looking back and forth onto the page from left to right. Name all pairs of vertical angles. Hopefully you did this already. Remember, they meet at a vertex. Right there is the vertex. They meet at the vertex. They meet at the vertex. So if you said angle 1 and 4, please don't put plus in the middle because that means add. Angle 2 and 142. Angle 5 and angle 8. And last two, 6 and 7. So we are going to go ahead and answer some of these questions. Why are angle 6 and 7 congruent? Why? What's the relationship between 6 and 7? If you did say vertical, you are correct. Why are angles 1 and 5? 1 and 5. Same location, and it creates a C. Same location corresponding. Why are 4 and 5? 4 and 5 going across, inside and across. Relationship, alternate interior angles. All right, relationship questions big on any test, so please be aware that you will need to know all of those names. They're mostly multiple choice, so you do get to pick from the choices, so that makes it a little bit easier. Go ahead, try all of these problems, same type of thing. Press pause and we'll review now. Okay, I have all my angles in. I found out that I circled 116, did the crisscross method there, and I saw that all obtuse angles are equal to 116 degrees. They were all equal to 116 degrees. Angle 2, 116, 6, and 7, all obtuse angles. Then I took 180 minus 116 and did arrive at 64 degrees. And I have angle 1 and 4 and 5 and 8, all acute angles, all the same, 64, all congruent. Now it says just name all the pairs of the vertical angles. Remember, vertical meets in the middle right here on a vertex. So we're going to do 1 and 4. Angles 1 and 4 are vertical. Hopefully you have this down already. You're just checking your work. Angles 2 and 116 degrees are vertical. Angles 5 and 8 are vertical. And then finally angle 7 and 6 are vertical. Why are angles 6 and 7 congruent? You should have had vertical. They are vertical angles. 1 and 5. 1 is over here and 5 is over here. Yep. So they make a C and they are in the same location, the top and the bottom, same location corresponding. And why are angles 4 and 5 congruent? 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. All right, so just remember supplementary. Angles. Angle 1 and 2. They make a straight line. They're right next to each other. They are equal to 180 degrees, but a more difficult pair of supplementary angles to identify are angles that are not next to each other, right? So a lot of people get confused with this. So if I said angle 2, which angle is supplementary to angle 2? And angle 2 is an obtuse angle. You must pick an acute angle. You can't pick another obtuse. Those angles would not be supplementary. So, looking at the screen, we have angle 2 and angle 8. Right? It has to be one obtuse, one acute. And that's that. Let's go on to the next page. We have this mess. All right, so let me move this over here, my face. All right. So, just remember, this is not a difficult topic. Vertical angles are congruent. So if they're right directly across from each other, and they look like they are the same, they are, right? So let's talk about recognizing vertical angles, right, to find each measure. So I'm going to put a dot right here, and that's called a vertex. Everything that meets at that vertex is exactly the same. Those are called vertical angles. So this is 55 degrees. What do you think A is? I'm pausing so you could put down the answer. Yes, it is 55 degrees. So please put 55. These are vertical angles. These are the same angle, the same measure. Go ahead and see if you could put in B right now, because angle B is next. At the vertex, what angles meet across from each other? B and yes, so it is 65. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Just don't copy down the answer. Do the work. See if you can recognize it. All right. So alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are inside and across from each other. So I'm just going to minus this. I'm going to put it a highlighter to this because I don't know if you realize, but these are parallel lines. All right. And this is a transversal. That is some, let's just see. See if I can draw that a little bit better. A little bit better. Okay. So, let me go back to the pen. So that's a transverse. Think about this as these two as the parallel lines and this as the transversal. Alternate interior angles inside the parallel lines and across from each other. All right, inside and across from each other. Inside and across from each other. So taking a look at D right now, see this is 60 inside and across from each other, 60. Now we're going to take a look at something over here, and I'm going to, let's see if I can highlight this, different color. Take a look at B and C. Yep, those are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior. So this is 65. So D is 60. C is 65. Alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are across from each other and inside the parallel lines. So consecutive interior angles. Let's see. Measure of angle E. Consecutive interior angles are the same thing as, in this case, supplementary. Consecutive just means, you know, in a row. It's two in a row, consecutive. Right? Supplementary, you know, it's a straight line and it equals 180 degrees. So if D is 60, E is what? So I'm just going to do 180 minus 60. E is 120. All right. Okay, so F, I mean, you could do F a lot of different ways. So, you know, it says in there that they're looking for corresponding angles. So what angle does F correspond to in the same location in this part? So if you said this angle right here, that is correct, and that's why this would be 60 as well. But I'm looking at this right here as a straight line. And straight lines right here, that's a straight line. Well, if it's a straight line, you do 180 minus 120, you can get 60 right there just by using supplementary angles. All right. What's another way to find angle E? Well, angle E, consecutive interior angles, supplementary, you just have 180 minus 60, and that's the way I would really just, that's the way I would do that. And then another way to find F, fast finisher, is that you could find it with corresponding angles, or you could find it that they're supplementary to each other, or you could find it where D and F are vertical. All right, so I'm going to put all that down, especially for F, because F is like really there's three different ways. So you can have D, angle D and F vertical. F and 60 are corresponding. And you could put E and F as supplementary. E supplementary to D. And that's about it. All right. Okay. That's it. Okay. Okay, this is the exit assessment. Go ahead, see if you could find the measure of angle 7. Please answer number 2 as well. Press pause and answer those problems now. Okay, hopefully you did get this exit assessment correct. Let's hope. What's the measure of angle 7? Well, I am going to look at this. I'm not going to draw a crisscross. This is an obtuse angle. I'm going to look at 7. What is 7? 7's obtuse also. If it's the same, it has to be the same. Right? 2 obtuse angles are equal. You could do the crisscross like this. And if they are circled, that means they are equal to each other. Why are 3 and 6 congruent? What's the relationship? Are they corresponding? Are they alternate interior? Are they alternate exterior? Are they vertical? If you did circle alternate interior, they're inside and across. A pair of corresponding angles would be same location. Same location would be 3 and 7. Would be 4 and 8. One and 5. And 137 and 6. Okay? Alternate exterior. 1 and 7. Outside and across. And vertical meeting at a vertex. All right, hopefully that did help you out. Hopefully you did circle B. Please do not skip the summary. All right, what are the key strategies that you need in order to find and identify angles that are formed by parallel lines by using an intersecting transversal? Just remember, make sure that you are putting down full sentences, or you could just you could start listing vertical angles. Are directly across from each other and meet at a vertex. They are congruent to each other. Vertical angles. Then say something about alternate interior. Then say something about alternate exterior. Corresponding. You could say corresponding angles. Are congruent. And are located in the same location. And one more, you could go ahead and put that down. You understand that you need some sort of like 2 or 3 skills, strategies that you used. You could put crisscross method, but angles that you could put, like angles that look the same. If I was filling this out, angles that look the same. In measure are usually the same measure. And remember, that's congruent. Congruent is an equal sign with a squiggly mark on the top. All right. And you could put a lot of different things down. There's a lot of vocabulary to go through. Summary shouldn't be one-word answers. Summary should be like, like you're writing in a full sentence. And that's basically it. Hopefully that helped you out. That was lesson 11. See you next time.